Yes, so welcome to this class this morning, parenting education. Basically, you have identified some other areas you think they are the areas whereby we are supposed to go through once again. Well, let's start from this particular area. We'll go it first because that's what we have basically looked at previously. So we'll just go through. Parenting. Parenting is the process of raising, promoting, and supporting the physical, emotional, social, and the cognitive development of a child from infancy to adulthood and across the life span. Basically, this is one of the definitions of the term parenting. You and me, really, we are supposed to know about this. It's very much important. And then parenting may also be described as the raising of a child by its parents. Very simple. The act, or else it means the act or process of becoming a parent. There's a fair kind of definition. The taking care of someone in the manner of a parent. Okay, parenting education refers to deliberate effort to help parents to be more effective in caring for children. There are many different processes for educating, including group meetings, resource centers, newsletters, radio programs, home visits, mentoring, internet, resources, support groups, and books. The content of these different efforts varies substantially, ranging from behavior management approaches to relationship approaches, enhancement approaches. What the programs have in common is the conviction that parents play a role in the development, and it is possible to help parents be more effective through training and education. Parenting education is conducted in many settings: schools, health, and religious education organization, and the community. It is conducted by people with different backgrounds, including human development, nursing, psychology, social work, and then education. There is a growing awareness in society that many social problems are the result of inadequate parenting education. Parents are not automatically equipped to deal with challenges of child rearing. Moreover, many social changes put additional pressures on families and limit their connections with the family members and the others. For example, since World War II, there have been increased numbers of mothers working outside homes, increased rate of divorce, greater distances from extended family, increased involvement with negative electronic media, and more overloaded family schedules. All of these changes can make the job of parenting more challenging. Well, introduction to parenting. Babies have to depend on other people for their physical, total survival, for their primary needs of warmth, shelter, and then what? Food. In this very basic sense, babies can only exist as part of social system in which more mature, less dependent people take the time to meet their needs. But babies require more than just these bodily needs to be met, even to develop physically. Babies whose basic physical needs are met may still fail to thrive if this care is given by a succession of different people with whom they don't have opportunity to form relationships with. Many historical studies of babies raised in orphanages where attention was paid only to physical care attest to this fact. Babies' attention and behavior towards others. Babies are born with their perceptual systems already seemingly tuned in to such features as faces and voices and biological motions that direct their attention towards other human beings. Well, babies are born into the world with a readiness for entering into and experiencing readiness with the others. Root and origin. Root and origin. Basically, remember we are talking about parenting education. Now I want to trace the roots and origin. Pay attention. Psychoanalytical theory, many of concepts underlying developmental psychologists, theories, and the research concerning babies' relationships with others have roots in the psychoanalytic theory. I think that was one of the concerns for you to say, okay, it's an area whereby we are also supposed to really have a look at. All right. Psychoanalytic theory originates with Sigmund Freud's work and has since continued to be modified and elaborated not as a single theory, but as a set of theories with different attention and with certain important differences in points of view on infant development and the role of relationships from the time of birth. Can I have an input from you, please, starting from here? How do you understand this? Basically, we are talking about psychoanalytic theory as the root and the origin of parenting education. In this case, when we are talking about parenting education, put in mind parents and the babies. or guardians or caretakers and the babies or the children. So, having read this or having gone through this, can I have an input from you? How do you understand this? Where do you think still you have a problem with this? Before we move on. Hmm? This first point. Okay. We are looking at, first and foremost, the root and origin of parenting education. Now, as I've said earlier on, when we are talking about parenting, put in mind or else think about parents and babies or else children, or think about caregivers and babies or the children. You get the point? Because normally it is the babies, it is the parents or caregivers who have the mandate to take care of the children. All right? And at the same time, you have to think about the relationship which is there between babies and the caregivers or else parents, or in other words, the children and the parents and the caregivers. So, we are saying such originates with Sigmund Freud's work. There is one of the authorities. This one is Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud once came up with what? A theory. And his theory is named as a psychoanalytic theory. That is the work of Sigmund Freud. So whatever we're talking about here originates with Sigmund Freud's work and has since continued to be modified and elaborated not as a single theory. We are talking about that theory Sigmund came up with. It never remained a single theory. It has been modified and then elaborated. What you have to bear in mind is that after Sigmund Freud, some other authorities based on Sigmund's work or theory came up with their own theories. That is came up with some other theories. And here it says, that theory was not, it was modified and then elaborated as a set of theories with different attention and with certain important differences in points of view on infant development and the role of relationships from the time of birth. So those theories people came up with, though they originate from the work of Sigmund Freud, they differed slightly. They had different focuses, but it's the same. Because it's the same theory of Sigmund Freud. So different people wrote about psychoanalytic theory, but they had different focuses. Because those people, they're different people. They have different views. If, for example, you were given a title to say, please, can you come up an essay on the school environment? And we're assuming you are just 5 of you, 5 of the learners, you were writing something on the school environment. It's the same topic, but different learners. And they have different writing styles, and they think differently. I don't think, or else let me ask you this way. Whatever they light, will it be the same? Yeah, it will be different, but the same what? Topic. Yeah, so those people who came up after Sigmund Freud came up with different theories on the same, that is psychoanalytic theory. Okay? Hello? In general, psychoanalytic theories have always placed the period of early childhood at the center stage as the formative influence on the development of adult personality. Although Freud himself concentrated on the relationships of the child with the parents around what he called the Oedipo phase, that is 3 to 5 years of age. Other psychoanalytic theory, he was saying, although Sigmund Freud himself concentrated on the relationships of the child with the parents around what he called Oedipo phase. Other psychoanalytic, something must be missing here. Okay. Something must be missing. But generally, it's a simple matter. What I'm trying to say is psychoanalytic theories have always placed the period of early childhood at the center stage as the formative influence of the development of adult personality. That's our main point here. How do you understand this?
Okay. Food is not like just dealing with only babies only. It's starting from early childhood up to adulthood development. It's concentrated.
Mm-hmm.
His influence is starting from early childhood to adulthood development.
Mm-hmm.
Personality.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's look at once again. In general, psychoanalytic theories, all right, have always placed the period of early childhood at the center stage as the formative influence on the development of adult what? Personality. So here is child personality and adult personality. All right? You can't talk about adult personality, development personality, without talking about early childhood personality. So, yeah, we have adult personality because we have early childhood personality. All right? And whatever an adult uh, does, it all it tells a story of where that person is coming from. Because whatever you do uh, as a child, some of the things they're also reflected in the what the development of adult personality. You get the point? Yeah. So that's why I say, you know, psychoanalytical theories have always placed the period of adulthood at the center stage as the formative influence. That early childhood, all right, stage plays a role influencing the development of adult what? Personality.
What is formative influence?
Mm-hmm. At the formative influence. Formative? Can you try to find the meaning of that word formative? Formative influence on the development of adult personality. Formative influence, right? Formative influence. Faster place. Mm-hmm.
cyangwa
Formative period of time or experience is one that has an important and lasting influence on a person's characters and what? Attitude. So I think this one, we'll learn something from this. Formative period of time or experience is one that has an important and lasting influence. An important and lasting influence of person's character and attitude. Whatever an adult is doing, it all depends on the what adulthood stage. What were you doing when you were young? How were you raised? All right? Did you receive love, for example? All right? All those things, they have an impact on the lasting impact on the adulthood personality. Yeah, so on the following point, what I have to understand is that Sigmund Freud himself concentrated on the relationships of the child with the parents. Okay? Other than should be other than other psychoanalytic theories. That one, he did concentrate on that. That is around what he called the Oedipal phase. That is 3 to 5 years of age. So his focus was on the children around 3 to 5 years old. Okay? So that's the relationship of babies with their caretakers, babies around those years. Unlike other psychoanalytic theories, here we are saying there is an important distinction between psychoanalysis and the psychoanalytic theory. Basically, this point, just trying to tell you and me that Sigmund Freud came up with this particular theory, psychoanalysis, and the psychoanalytic theory. So we are not focusing on this one, rather on what? Psychoanalytic what? Theory. And here we are saying psychoanalysis is the treatment of mental disorders through techniques such as talking, perception. In the analysis aims include uncovering unconscious conflicts and resolving them through the medium of the client-analyst relationship, whereby psychoanalytic theory is about how personality difficulties arise in development. And it is also about conflicts that arise and may be resolved in everyday life, not just in the therapy. Freud himself and others who have worked with his ideas saw this aspect of theory as applicable to development of all children. Remember the point we have raised. The Sigmund Freud concentrated only on the what? Relationship between and the children, especially those from maybe 3 to 5 years old. So others here, they're saying the theory is applicable to development of all what? Children. There has always been a degree of tension between developmental psychology and the psychoanalytic research. The two disciplines share a common interest in the significance of infant, yet have some fundamental differences of view on what counts as evidence in the theory of what? Development. Psychologists interested in language, personality, cognition, and emotion. In fact, virtually every facet of mental life have looked to the behavior of infants with their caregivers for sources and the precursors of abilities that are seen to emerge and develop later on in childhood. The approach has been dominated by a view that researchers' subjective interpretations of the phenomenon of interest are inadequate, even inadmissible as evidence. In contrast to this approach, psychoanalytic researchers see these sorts of interpretations as being important sources. Nevertheless, much contemporary research on infant relationships in developmental psychology is formed by psychoanalytic ideas, and the psychoanalytic theory itself is influenced by progress in developmental psychology. Loving, reliable, and responsive loving and nurturing relationships for child development and what? The significance. Loving, reliable, and responsive relationships are fundamental to child what? Development. Through relationships, children learn how to think, understand, communicate, behave, express emotions, and develop social skills. Playing with children strengthens relationships and encourages children to explore, observe, experiment, and solve what? Problems. Can you go ahead? Or we may have a problem here. Okay.
Are we on the same route or another point?
I think now it's another point.
So the roots ended there?
Yeah, the root that is psychoanalytic theory. It? Mm-hmm. Through relationships, children learn how to think, understand, communicate, behave, express emotions, and develop social what? Skills. Playing with children strengthens what? Relationships and encourage children to explore, observe, experiment, and solve problems. Here, think about play. For play with the children. The role of play to the children. Okay, yes, welcome, please. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, and we have looked at a number of areas. Basically, I asked the Kodesh to come up with the areas she thinks they are pertinent enough for us to come up with a revision or to revise or to go through. So she told me about that personality psychoanalytic theory. So that's what we have so far gone through. Yeah, so let's continue with this, and then if you have the same problems, we'll see how to go about that. But here we are on this one, loving and nurturing relationships for children development and the significance. Anyway, can you just go through this, the sentences, and then if you have a problem, then tell me before we move on. It's okay with you? No problem. When you go ahead.
Okay with me.
It's okay. Okay. Children's relationships shape the way they see the world and affect all areas of their development. Through relationships with parents, family members, and caregivers, children learn about themselves and their world. Very much important, please. You have to go through this. That's because relationships let children express themselves. A cry, laugh, a question and get something back. A kudo, a smile, and the answer. What children gets back gives them important information. The childlike, and how to act in the world. That is how to think, understand, communicate, behave, show emotions, and then what? Develop skills. And when your child feels safe and attached to you, your child is more likely to have confidence to explore their world. Do you understand here? Mm-hmm. And when your child feels safe and attached to you as a caregiver, to you as a primary caregiver, as a mother, he or she is more likely to have confidence to explore their world. Exploring the world gives your child new experiences. Your child needs the stimulation of these experiences to learn how to think, communicate, react, and then socialize. The more experiences your child has with you, there to support them, the more your child glows and thrives. parents, what? Relationships with what? Others. This is another area for us to take note of. The relationships you have with others also shape your child's development. The child may have in your house, well, is also shaped by the relationships you have with others. Take yourself as a mother or else as a wife to somebody else. As a wife to your husband, and the husband is a man as a husband to the wife. The way you are relating, that kind of relationship which is there between you, it helps to shape this child, because the child learns more from you. She does observe, he does observe whatever you are doing. So whatever you are doing, it's a lesson to him. And that relationship shapes this one. If you are used to give each other blows every morning, every night, the child just observes and she thinks that's the way of what? Life. So that will have an impact on this particular child when he is young, and even when sometimes is a grown-up person. All right? The environment he's growing up in will actually make him to be like just that environment when he's growing, when he's a grown-up person. The way you behave and communicate with other people, for example, your partner, family members, friends, and caregivers. Show your child how to be and behave with others. So the way you're behaving in your family, that's how a child, when he may go out, will behave with others. For example, if you are speaking using abusive language, basically the child will do likewise. You also be using the same language. When it's time to communicate with others outside or other siblings in the house, also shows your child how other people will behave in return. Remember, we're talking about relationships you have with others. You as a caregiver, you as a mother, you as a caretaker. We're saying that also shows your child how other people will behave in return. If your child sees kind and respectful relationships around them, your child learn to be kind and respectful with others. For example, if you were a couple and you were actually always respecting each other, that's what your child will end up doing this other day. But if you always you say, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, blood food, blood food. Do you know me? Do you know me? Do you know where I come from? All those kind of words, you are spoiling this younger one, this baby, because he will be just like yourself. Respectful, the relationship you have with others. And then, why play is important for development and the relationships? Is it really true that play is playing an important role for the development and the relationships that is between you and the child relationships? and the development of that particular baby. So babies, or baby you have, or siblings in the house. Is playing an important role. The early years, the child's main way of learning and developing is through play. All right? That was sometimes you act as if you were spending money for nothing, but it's helpful. You go in town buying toys for your babies or your children. And when you are busy doing something else, you give them those toys to play with. You see him or her enjoying, laughing, becoming so excited, happy. All right? Yeah, so at that particular age, the baby is learning through play. Play is fun for your child. It also gives your child opportunity to explore, observe, experiment, solve problems, and sometimes make what? Mistakes. Your relationship helps your child get the most out of play. I like this. It's very interesting. Whether you let a child play for him or herself with some other toys or something else, some other materials, or else when you're playing with a baby yourself, really, that helps your child get the most out of that play. It gets a lot. Before we move on, please, we are here. Can you go through yourself? You're out. Mm-hmm. Sorry? Done. Mm-hmm. Any input from you? Anything else from you on this one? Hmm? Mm-hmm. It's okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's okay. Okay. That because your encouragement gives your child confidence to explore, experiment, and make mistakes. Plenty time spent praying, talking, listening, and interacting with you also helps your child learn life what? Eh?
Life skills.
Skills. Like communicating, thinking, solving what? Problems, moving and being with other children and grown-ups. Right? When you pray with your child, it builds your relationship. That's very true. if you're always furious with your children, they can't love you. There's no way. But when you pray with them, always when he sees you, or when he sees you passing by, or when you're around, you see him or her coming to you. Then you start praying. So anytime playing together sends your child a simple message: you are important to me. All right? Get the point? When you are praying with your child, when you spend time praying together with a child, that sends a message to your child. It's a very simple message. Which message? You are important to me. In other words, a child, that's what he gets from you. To say you are trying to value him. To say, yes, you are important to me. So he feels good. He feels being important to you as a caregiver. And that's what he develops within her mind. To say, I am important to this mom. I'm important to this nan. I'm important to this caregiver. I'm important. So that's why he always he makes himself to be a friend. When he sees you, he comes to you. And if he was crying, you pick him up, you see him staying quiet and start laughing. Start praying with you. Because you're a friend, and he feels he's important to you. This message helps your child about who they are and where they fit in the world. It helps your child to know about who they are. All right? You say the word to know. This message helps your child to know about who they are and where they fit in the world. Yeah, so you also wanted us to talk about socialization, personality, and social development. And maternal deprivation. Indi, pagana. Sorry? when Indi. Socialization, the social and developmental psychology. So under that we have socialization, personality, and social development. 3 things. Thereafter, there's maternal deprivation and psychology. As well, these are the areas for us to have a look at as you have requested. The terms such as socialization, personality, and the social-emotional development are elaborated below. Number 1, socialization. Socialization is the process whereby an innocent child becomes self-aware, knowledgeable person, skilled in the ways of culture into which he or she was born. In the early years of life, children learn the ways of their elders, thereby carrying out their values, norms, and social practices as young as they are. It's very much interesting a topic. Remember, I've talked about prayer. Is prayer important to the children? As we're praying with the children or babies, it's socialization. All right? Socialization. So here we're saying in the early years of life, children learn the ways of their elders as we're praying with them. If you go back to that particular part of our work, pray. they learn the ways of their elders, thereby carrying out their values, norms, and the what? Social practices. That's now the children carrying out the values, norms, and the social practices of the elders. All right? Yeah. As you spend time with the children, baby, socializing, they gain a lot from you. One day they end up carrying out or learning the ways of life and carrying out your values, your norms, and social what? Practices. So even if your child is away to others or to other people or away from your compound, people will know this child belongs to Ngomayenda Banda. All right? Because of the way you are, behaving and whatever you, whatever, the way you conduct yourself. Say, this one. What's the name of Zipporah? This Zipporah, I think, is a child to Mr. Soso. Personality. On that one, I gave you an assignment to say, please, can you learn something on socialization? You never came back to me. On socialization. And even I think, all of them. I say you have to write on that one and share me notes. Yes, but after doing that, finally I said you have to write on this one and then share me what you have done. Document and then write. Yeah, give me something. A word or PowerPoint, to me, it could be a welcome idea. Okay, personality. Personality encompasses the dynamic construction versus characteristics that distinguish an individual in terms of what? Personal, behavioral, what? Traits. Personality development is ever-changing and subject to contextual factors and life-altering experiences. Personality development is also dimensional in description and subjective in what? Nature. Any problem here? Zipporah. Zipporah must be a case. That is, personality development can be seen as a continuum, varying in degrees of density and what? Change. It is subjective in nature because its conceptualization is rooted in social norms of expected behavior, self-expression, and personal growth. The dominant viewpoint in personality psychology indicates that personality emerges early and continues to develop across one's what? Life span.
What I think, according to me, okay, you have already told us these things, we're just revising. I was thinking that maybe if you give us a chance, we should also stand there